this season. Thank you for sending your son into this world for the redemption of all of us. Amen. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Deaconess Marecki. We appreciate you. Next item, please.
Reading, correcting, and approval of the journal.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydun.
Move for approval. Support.
Moved and supported. Any correction to the journal? Hearing none, please vote. Uh-oh. All right. Please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
Report from the chair.
Hopefully everyone enjoyed their poinsettias that the chair provided for each commissioner today and to our directors. I have a beautiful small business owner who provided those for us. So please take them and enjoy your holiday season. Next item.
Unfinished business, there is none listed. We are moving to page 2 of the agenda, offering of all petitions, ordinances, resolutions, and presentations. There are none listed. We are moving to reports from committees. Report A is from the Committee on Economic Development. There are 3 items listed.
Hey, Commissioner Hados is not here today. Is Vice Chair Commissioner Kniezek.
I am not the Vice Chair of Economic Development.
Who would like to move the economic development report?
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Vice Chair Baydun, supported by Commissioner Killeen for the economic development report. As I neglected to state, all of our committee reports are vetted because we operate in a committee setting. So all of the items are vetted thoroughly and discussed during the committee process. Then they're moved here to full board for final disposition. So we have what appears to be a hacker. Can't hear you. Okay. We're gonna fix our board. Please don't hack our board. Commissioner Anderson is the Vice Chair, Economic Development. Commissioner Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the 3 items on the Economic Development Committee.
Support.
Any discussion on the items under economic development? Commissioner Anderson, any discussion on those items? Any discussion on those items under economic development?
I have none.
Okay.
No dis-
Okay, moved by Commissioner Anderson, supported by Commissioner Baydun. Any discussion from the commissioners on the economic development report? Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
We're on report B from the Committee on Public Services. There are 13 items listed on pages 2 through 7 of the agenda.
Commissioner Marecki?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move the entire agenda.
Hey, Commissioner Marecki has moved the public services report. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Baydun, and I don't see that on my screen, but supported by Commissioner Baydun. Discussion on the public services report. 13 items on the public services report. Any discussion from commissioners? And note that I do not have the screen, so you have to raise your hand because I don't have a screen indicating who would like to speak. Can't see everybody with these flowers. Hearing no discussion on public services, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
We are on report C from the Committee on Ways and Means. There are 23 items listed on pages 7 through 10 of the agenda.
Commissioner Kinlock?
Madam Chair, move approval of the Committee on Ways and Means report.
Been moved by Commissioner Kinlock, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydun for the Committee on Ways and Means report. Any discussion on those 23 items? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
We are on Report D from the Committee on Health and Human Services. There are 9 items listed on pages 10 through 14 of the agenda.
Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move the full report.
Okay. The report was moved by Commissioner Baker McCormick, supported by Commissioner Colleen. Any discussion on the Committee on Health and Human Services? Any discussion on the items for Health and Human Services? Seeing no hands, please vote.
Motion carries.
Next item, please.
We're on Report E from the Committee on Seniors and Veterans Affairs. There are 3 items listed on pages 14 and 15 of the agenda.
Commissioner Scott. Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Commissioner Dobb. Commissioner Basham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just would like to hear, I know this is for a good cause and everything, but why is this item number 3 retroactive?
Item number 3, who can speak to the retroactivity of item number 3? This is Detroit Area Agency on Aging.
Good morning, Chairwoman Darcel Brown, Legislative Liaison for the Wayne County Executive's Office. Commissioner, I will have an answer for you before the end of the meeting regarding this. It was stated at the committee, but I'll find out and bring that back to you.
So I got to vote on it now, but you don't give me an answer till after I voted on it? Is that the way it goes?
Well, Chairwoman, I will have an answer before the end of the meeting.
If I may speak, Joan Savrakis, Division Director, Wayne County Senior Services.
Hello, Joan.
Hello, through the Commission Chair. We do not begin the process of this contract until after budget approval. And this year, there was an increase in the dollar amount for the Detroit Area Agency on Aging contract. So we began the process upon budget approval, and in the process, it does become retroactive.
Mr. Basham? Does that answer your question?
Well, if this is a routine, and I support this, I support what they're doing, but the thing of it is, if we have a routine contract and we do it every year, even if you know there's an increase, you could put a not to exceed, those kinds of languages in your bid for your contract. So anyway, I'm going to be reluctant yes on this, but I just, the flags come up when we see retroactive contracts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Joan. Any additional discussion on the Senior and Veteran Affairs report? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
We are on Report F from the Committee on Audit. There's 1 item listed.
Commissioner Basham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would move 1 item to receive and file. Thank you.
Moved by Commissioner Basham, supported by Commissioner Colleen. Any discussion on the 1 item on the audit report? Any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
We're on Report G from the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security. There are 5 items listed on pages 15 through 17.
Commissioner Clark Holman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would move that we receive and file item number 1 and 2 through 5. I move items 2 through 5. Yes.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Clark Holman, supported by Commissioner Scott. The 5 items on the public safety report. Any discussion on any of these 5 items? Any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
We are on report H from the Committee on Government Operations. There are 14 items listed on pages 17 through 20 of the agenda.
Commissioner Dobb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of the entire report.
So much. It's been moved by Commissioner Dobbs, supported by Commissioner Colleen. I would like to ask if Corp Counsel could come to the mic on item number 11. So as you all know, we hired the Miller Law Firm to assist us in the opioid settlement that we had. And that was a very successful engagement. Now we are also asking them to assist us in the insulin litigation. This litigation is going across the country with different counties attacking this issue because unfortunately, our residents in our counties across the country have been charged unnecessarily for insulin. So I'd like, if you could, Sue, to talk about that briefly. And then we have lead counsel from Miller Law Firm, Butch Hollowell, who may also want to give remarks.
Good morning, Sue Hammoud, Deputy Corporation Counsel. Chair, as you mentioned, we are retaining the Miller Law Firm to pursue litigation on behalf of the county against several insulin manufacturers in the hopes of recouping some funds for our citizens. We have a draft complaint that is prepared and ready to be filed, hopefully by the end of the year, pending approval of this legal services contract by this honorable body. I will defer to Mr. Hollowell to answer any specific questions about the litigation that you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Mood, and good morning, Madam Chair. I'm here with my partner, Sharon Allman-Rody, and essentially what this is, in 1921, when the patent for insulin was created, it was created with the proviso that it should be free to the general public. And we know that that's not the case anymore. It was actually transferred over to the University of Toronto for that. But what we've seen in the last 25 years is, just in the last 25 years, a 1,000% increase in the cost to ordinary consumers, including those here in the county of Wayne. This will be a class action case that will be brought in the federal district of New Jersey for anti-competitive behavior that has damaged the citizens of this great county. And well, I would bring the chair and the rest of the commission's attention to what happened on December 7th of this year. I think you saw the state legislature got rid of the products liability immunity for drug manufacturers, which had been in place in the state. That was also in place when we represented you in the opioids litigation. We were able to get around it, but now it's a more direct approach. So we look forward very much to bringing this on your behalf. These manufacturers have a scheme to inflate these prices, and they control the pharmacy benefit managers control 89% of the market. The manufacturers control 92% of the market. And so we look forward to, again, bringing this on your behalf, and we'll make you proud.
Thank you for that. And we will anticipate updates along the way. The opioid litigation took how many years?
How long did it take us?
6 years.
Yeah, almost 6.
So hopefully this one won't be as long, but with it being a national issue, it could very well be.
Of course, the benefit is that we've seen the change in the behavior in the opioids. And of course, we've seen quite a few millions of dollars come to Wayne County as a result of it to address the remediation of the opioids crisis. And we intend to attack this with the same vigor.
Thank you so much, sir. Any questions on this item before they take their seats? You have a question on this item? No. Any questions? Oh, Commissioner Basham.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. As this drills down, and thank you for pursuing that on behalf of the public. we have a couple of district courts that's trying to find $1 funding. Actually, they want more than $1 funding for their drug courts. And so hopefully some of this money that we receive through the feds, through the county, can go to those drug courts that are like this, trying to get an extra $1 for their drug courts. So I just wanted to publicly comment about that. But the drug courts and certainly 23rd District and a couple others are really looking for some help. But thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Basham. And that's a great point, you know, and the judge in the opioids case had a Schedule E, for how all the funds could be used. And we anticipate the same thing, and we would fight for that. That makes a lot of sense.
Thank you so much. I have a couple more speakers. I don't think it's on this item. Commissioner Marecki, or it might be. Okay, go ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Commissioner Marecki.
I'd like to be a no on number 1, please.
Duly noted. Commissioner Palomero.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to offer an amendment to item 1, please. Madam Clerk, has it been distributed?
This is an amendment to item number 1.
Yes, and I'd like to speak to that, please. The amendment, in essence, is in the second resolve clause that will change it to say calls for an immediate release of all hostages, and then goes on to say later in the same paragraph, and a simultaneous ceasefire by both sides in the region. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, support
Supporting the friendly amendment.
the amendment, yes.
Council, could you do me a favor and set aside your beautiful poinsettia so I can see your face? Because I can't see your face. Thank you. Commissioner Kinlock supported the friendly resolution just for procedural sake. Is that appropriate? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Kinlock. Commissioner Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to speak on the first item on the government ops report. First, I would like to thank all of my colleagues for their efforts to finally bring this ceasefire resolution to the full board to hopefully pass it unanimously today. I know this resolution is symbolic, but it's very meaningful to the thousands of Wayne County residents, especially the 150,000 Arab Americans who live in Wayne County and have been impacted by this genocidal war. It has been 74 days of killing and destruction for the Palestinians of Gaza. And the entire world is watching helplessly because our government, the Biden administration, has refused to call for a ceasefire. Our UN ambassador has vetoed several resolutions calling for a ceasefire. Over 19,400 Palestinian civilians have been killed. Over 7,700 are children. There are over 7,500 civilians who are missing and presumed dead and buried underneath the destroyed homes and buildings in Gaza. 97 journalists have been killed. Some of you might wonder, what can President Biden do to stop this war? It's very simple. One phone call to the Prime Minister of Israel to demand a ceasefire. Our US government is the main funder of this war. Imagine this, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, a $70,000 US supplied missile being fired from a US supplied $28 million drone flying at a cost of $3,000 per hour to kill civilians who are making less than $1 per day in Gaza. That's the reality. Friends, when we call for a ceasefire, this is not anti-Semitic. It is pro-humanity. When we criticize the Israeli government for their indiscriminate bombings of entire neighborhoods in Gaza, this is not anti-Semitic, it's pro-humanity. This is not a religious war. This is not Islam versus Judaism. Christians are being killed every day in Gaza, and multiple churches have been bombed in Gaza. Many people believe that Israel is acting in the name of Judaism. It is not. In fact, many Jewish Americans are standing against this genocide and saying, "Not in our name." Some who are here with us in this room today from Jewish Voices for Peace. 50 years from now, when the future generations look back on this ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people, let it be known that this legislative body of 2023 stood on moral grounds and did the minimum by passing a resolution to call for a ceasefire and the release of all hostages. We cannot remain silent in the face of injustice. We must do the right thing. Let us stand on the side of humanity. I am respectfully asking all of you to vote unanimously to pass this resolution. Let us do the right thing for our residents. I don't think there are Wayne County residents who want to see dead Palestinian children being pulled from the rubbles of their destroyed homes. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Basham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just going to vote for this, but, and my Lebanese friend has certainly a right to say whatever he wants to say. But we don't, this actually war started when there was a bombing of a music party and killed 1,400 people. Did it get worse? Absolutely. Is it ridiculous? Absolutely. Should we stop it? Absolutely. But the thing of it is, everything starts one place and leads to another. And the only reason I'm forced to speak here today, and I got so stressed out the last time we had this meeting, I wound up spending the night in Henry Ford Hospital. But the president of this country, who I support, is doing everything he can. And we need to support this country, and we need to send a strong message. And if we had the authority to do that, we don't know all the particulars in this. If we knew all the particulars in this, it would have been done a long time ago. It's not done in the public eye. And so there's a lot of variables in here. So I don't want to, and I don't have the authority to do that. So I don't want to get in the middle of all the variables, but I certainly support this resolution. And I appreciate my thoughts from my good colleague here. And most of my friends are Lebanese. The thing of it is, let's just, take a deep breath and say, we don't want anybody being killed. And we need to support peace and quiet in this country, in this world. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We're going to do two things. We have to vote on the friendly amendment. So let us vote on the amendment right now. Moved by Commissioner Palomero and supported by, I think it was Colleen. This is voting on the friendly amendment. Kenlack, I'm sorry. And this is the vote first on the amendment. The amendment provided by Commissioner Palomero. Commissioner Scott. This is voting on the amendment. Okay. Okay, thank you. The next vote is going to be on the government operations report.
I'd like to move the entire report as amended.
Commissioner Dobb is moving the report as amended. And it's supported by Commissioner Colleen. All right, thank you. This is the government operations report as amended. Please vote. Thank you. Next item, please.
We're moving to page 20 of the agenda, report I from the Committee of the Whole. There's one item listed.
Okay. This is the item on Wayne County supporting the Renaissance Zone. We had a full discussion on this at Committee of the Whole last week. It's moved by Commissioner Kenlock, supported by Commissioner Marecki. Any further discussion? We had about an hour's worth of discussion at Committee of the Whole. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Next item, please.
We are on Report J from the Committee on Ways and Means, which is on your second addenda. There are 4 items listed.
Moved by Commissioner Kinlock, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydoun. Commissioner Kinlock? Any discussion on your Committee on Ways and Means report?
There are no statements required.
The report from this morning on the Committee on Ways and Means, items 1 through 4. Moved by Commissioner Kinlock, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydoun. Any discussion on these 4 items? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Next item, please.
We are on page 21 of the agenda, upcoming meetings.
Please note the upcoming meetings for 2024. If there are any changes, please let the clerk know, but these are the scheduled meetings as of now. When we meet on January 4th, I will have the full board committee meeting schedule as well as the committee meeting schedule right after the January 4th meeting. If not sooner, but no later than after the January 4th meeting. Next item.
We are on new business. There are 3 items listed on the agenda and 2 on the addenda. Item number 1 is requesting commission approval of the appointment of Kimberly Price to the position of Director of the Talent Management Division.
Okay, who's here to speak on this item? Director Wilson.
Excuse me. Good morning to the commission and everyone. I'm Director Donna Wilson of PHR and would like to introduce Kimberly Price, who is online as the new Division Director for Talent Management within PHR. So Kimberly comes to us with 15 years of experience, both in public and private industry. She is an excellent compensation analyst and has been working with us on many different initiatives in PHR. So just excited to see an internal promotion and succession planning in our future.
Thank you. And her her responsibility will be what exactly?
She will be the Division Director for Talent Management, and talent is responsible for our recruitment, classifications, and promotions within PHR. So anything from, like we say, from recruitment to retention efforts.
Thank you. Is Ms. Price on the telephone or Zoom? If we can possibly get that to work, hopefully.
I am, yes, thank you.
Hello, Ms. Price. Is there anything you'd like to say to the Wayne County Commission?
I would like to say thank you for this opportunity. I was born and raised in Wayne County and still live in Wayne County, so I'm very excited. I have a lot of background working with local municipalities, and I'm happy to bring my expertise here and help our community grow and find the best talent and pay comparable wages. And I'm really excited to be part of the team.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Price from commissioners? Commissioner Basham?
Would say the price is right. Thank you.
That's not the first time I've heard that.
Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a motion for this item? Let's do this appointment first, then we'll do the rest of them together. Moved by Commissioner Kinlock, supported by Commissioner Basham. Again, any discussion on the appointment of Ms. Price? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Price. We look forward to your leadership in PH&R. Thank you, Ms. Director Wilson. Thank you so much. All right, items 2, 3, 4, 5, we'll take together. Item number 2.
Item number 2 is requesting commission approval of a collective bargaining agreement between the Charter County of Wayne and the Dietitians and Nutritionists Association.
Okay, another collective bargaining agreement before us. Hello, Ms. Allen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Janelle Allen, Chief Operating Officer with the County Executive's Office. With me here is Matt Carmano, who is our interim director of labor relations, who can answer specific questions about this CBA. But I wanted to use this opportunity to brief the commission on our collaborative bargaining process. You may recall I came before you a few months ago saying that our county executive had gone to all of our union leaders asking to open negotiations for contracts that actually do not expire until next September. And this was on him fulfilling a commitment and a promise that back in 2015, when significant concessions were imposed on our employees, they were negotiated, but in essence were somewhat compelled on them, imposed on them, that he said when the county is doing better, the county would do better for its staff. And so with this process, though, we said we want to take a different approach than just the collective bargaining traditionally, meaning that you have two sides. You have the union side and management. We said we're taking an approach that this is one team, one Wayne County. And we call this collaborative bargaining. And instead of coming in and bartering, if you will, and where one side will try to get the most they can get to get a deal, the other side tries to give the least they could get to get a deal, we're focusing on what are the issues that we need to address. And so we started the process by identifying that and then have collaborated on effective solutions. One thing in particular with regard to economics and our salaries, we have said that we really need to be competitive with the open market. And our Mecca, who are our competitors? We will often say that we really don't have many comparables in the state of Michigan because Wayne County, as we know, is the largest, most diverse, most complex, voluminous county. But we do have competitors because that's to whom we lose our staff to or who choose to go elsewhere. So we start this process by one, updating our job descriptions. And I am dismayed to share that some of our job descriptions have not been updated in years, if not even decades. So we started there to make sure that we are having benchmarks for our right positions. What are the jobs that we need to do today? What are the skill sets that we need today? And then we can go benchmark that with the market. That is exactly what we've done with this group and we're doing with all of our other groups. And so here with our hearing and vision technicians, while they are one of our smallest groups, they have followed the process that we're using with all of our other groups, including ASME, JA, and some of our other smaller ones. In this, coming out of this process then, we also have focusing on market salaries, but also career pathing. You know that we'll hear that we know years ago, step increases were eliminated, where at least employees knew that even if you stayed in the same classification, you would get some type of increase over time. That really has been eliminated and really was absolutely stalled with on the brink of bankruptcy. Here, we're trying to actually incorporate, we can't necessarily put in steps, but we looked at going in here, we went from one classification, which are called registered dietitian and nutritionist, to 3. And depending on your years of experience, and you must perform satisfactorily, you will be able to move up in the career path, even if there are no vacancies. At some point though, when you have a promotion, so we'll say if you're hired at an entry-level position, you get certain level of experience, you are proficient in that, you'll be able to automatically go up to the next level without there being a vacancy. We're calling those reclassifications. Again, so our staff can show that there is some movement, some opportunity for career progression. Clearly, at some point, you do have positions where you don't need all your staff in that position. Those are what we're now going to call our promotional positions. We have a limited number, so you must compete for that. With all of these positions, though, we have tied the salaries to the actual market. Another key change that we're incorporating, and it's something that we're negotiating with all of our unions, is tying pay increases to performance. I know a number of our staff have expressed some concerns about that because they believe that there may not be fairly evaluated, that they may just be, as I say, treat unfairly, and you heard the word that it'll be punitive or they'll be penalized. What I've shared with them is that our current system only allows for penalizing poor performance, and that's through the disciplinary process. We do not have anything built in our current system that rewards, even incentivizes strong performance. With the evaluation process we're proposing, and we're doing this in a very gradual way, is that there will be a small amount initially that will be set that everyone is eligible to receive. Then, based upon your performance, Those who are higher performers and exceed expectations, if not be at an excellent level, will be entitled to receive a higher percentage. And then those who perform satisfactory and even needs improvement will still be eligible to receive something. The way we operate today, you can have an employee who is an outstanding performer, receives the exact same as someone who abuses leave time, who does not perform well, they get the same amount. And we believe, we all said in our culture, we want to show that we really reward our employees, we value them, and we want to incentivize strong performance. And this agreement incorporates that component. We also have where we have professional development. We want to highlight training. Right now, we just have in our agreements pretty much tuition reimbursement, and it's very limited. We have to now expand that to professional development, where there's a component that talks about mandatory or employer-provided training, i.e. the county paying for that, versus tuition reimbursement. If you have a staff member who wants to invest in themselves, that even if it's not tied directly to their current job, if it's tied to something that can value Wayne County government, they will be eligible to use their tuition reimbursement for that. And one last area is in our retirement. We actually have a global benefits group now where all of our unions are represented. We've been meeting very regularly, like on a 2-week basis, to talk about overall anything with regard to our medical, our healthcare, as well as retirement. And coming out of those groups, we've learned that a lot is lacking in education and understanding. And so we're going to be developing a lot of different materials and information that's easily accessible, easily understandable about our healthcare options. And I will tell you that we have opened the books. One thing in this process too is about sharing information. When our members have asked for, we've had presentations from our benefits crew about comparing our current healthcare plans with our competitors and asking questions. And I would tell you, realizing that in a lot of ways, the county's health insurance plan is not worse than others. In fact, in some areas, it is better. But our employees need to have a better understanding about how to maximize what we do have. We are also looking at retirement. And is there a way that we can have retirement enhancements? And what we do is say that we come up with proposals, we get them costed out. The one caveat we have is nothing we do can jeopardize the county's financial stability today or in the future. But I just want you to know, while there isn't much in this agreement tied to, there's nothing about healthcare, there is about retirement benefits. During the period of concessions in 2015, there was a change made that for our defined benefit plans, where we collect a traditional pension, our employees had to contribute on their gross wages, including overtime, but would only collect on their base wages. That's just not fair. That is being changed, and that is being changed in this specific agreement, and that has been actually offered to all of our unions to have that, if we will say, that disparity there. Well, employees will be able to contribute on base wages and collect on base wages to have that parity there. Again, just wanted to give an update. I know that our process has taken longer than anticipated, but I'll tell you too that we really are now taking on the heavy lift. In the past, we really were just bartering over different percentages. And while our employees, because we were so under market, a significant increase might sound a lot at 10%, 20%. When you're still well below market, it wasn't significant enough, which is why we haven't seen much of a change, which is why we took that off the table about just percentages. It's about how close can we get to the market, and our goal is to try to get to the market. Our staff, I would say, and our union members in particular, I just want to applaud them and thank them for being very engaged in this process. We're also looking at career pathing, where we look at, even with our supervisory positions, we're looking at feeder positions. So employees coming in, we are mapping this out, where you start at entry level, you can know what path you take to get to a higher level if you want to go to management or get the top of your line as a technician. But again, want to share that this is what's taking so long, but these are things that have been put off over the years because it is so voluminous and it could be overwhelming. We are taking this one step at a time. And while we have said we will not be able to accomplish and address every issue this round, I think we are going to have a dent in it though. With that, are there any specific questions about this CBA?
Thank you. This is for 4 members in this CBA. Is that the number in this particular one?
Yes, those are the current positions. Those are the current employees, but there are a total, I believe, of 7 positions. So there are some vacancies what we're expecting to fill with these changes.
And then with the training and the performance review process, that's in this CBA. We've done several this year Was that in those as well?
No, that is not in those. And the ones you did earlier this year were all tied to public safety, which were actually done more the traditional route. We started the collaborative bargaining primarily with our non-public safety. But we'll be looking to get those in the next round in our public safety contracts.
And the biggest change, I think, as you noted, was with the performance review. So if you have two individuals, they're not necessarily going to get the same wage, everything being equal. It'll be based on how they perform, because if one performs lower than the other, they won't get certain increases, but if one does super, then they'll get increases. Did I hear you correctly?
Exactly. And I do want to stress, though, this process is being done very gradually. We're taking this fiscal year to develop the process collaboratively. This will not be someone in personnel HR sitting back dictating. We literally are inviting all of our staff, in particular our union leaders, at the table to determine the criteria. We will have a standard basic format, if you will, for all of the units and all of our staff, but it will be collaborative about what is the criteria. The first year we are developing the program, we should have things in place by, we'll say, the second quarter of this fiscal year. So then we can have a test period to see, does it really work? Are people doing this? The other thing, a key part, is having regular check-ins and updates. So no one should be surprised at the end of a year about their overall rating. But the process really will not start counting where it's going to be tied to performance until next fiscal year, October 1st, 2024. So next fiscal year is built in here that someone will still get, I believe this has a 2.5% increase. These employees will still get that. And then but they'll start getting evaluated formally starting October 1st, 2024. And then the raises will be tied to performance starting October 1st, 2025. So again, this was in deference to concerns expressed by our represented members in particular, and to have a trial period, so people, a test period, to make sure that this is working as we intended.
Thank you. Commissioner Kinlock?
Yes, Madam Chair. When I first came to the commission, one of the first issues that I had approached Chair Bell and Executive Evans, actually I think it was my first sit down with them in this role. And I had some serious concerns of getting calls from Judge Kenny and other folks about the concerns as it relates to the wages and compensation and benefits here in Wayne County. And I was going to introduce a resolution, and the executive and Assad and the chair said, well, we've been working on this. I said, you know, what's going on with it? Well, we're working on it. And we're going to have something for you all soon. So let's just try to let the process work out without having a resolution, calling on folks to do whatnot. I am absolutely happy and pleased to see that I don't have to and haven't had to bother Assad and the executive and the chair regarding this, addressing these wages. You all have actually done that, and I'm very pleased with all of these updates, all of these changes that you are being, having come from the labor paths as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I too, some 5 years ago when I first became a commissioner, was concerned about succession planning and making sure that we keep the talent that we have. And so I am so happy to hear about the tuition reimbursement, which I think that was already there in place, but just the path that a employee can see where they can go in Wayne County. I think that's very instrumental in keeping our talent. So I just want to commend you on the work that you've done in this area. Thank you.
And it's a big team effort. I'm just a facilitator.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Marecki?
Thank you, Madam Chair. To this item specifically, being a retired dietitian, what I think is really great is offering like the continuing education, because you have to do that every 5 years. It's very time consuming. Sometimes it can be very expensive, but to have it offered at work in different ways, I think that's a huge benefit. So thanks for that.
Thank you, Ms. Allen, for this work. I've talked to a few of the people involved with the collective bargaining, and they, for the most part, are pretty happy with how it's going. They're happy to be asked to help form this and to create this and to make it, like you said, one Wayne County, including all of the members on the union. So thank you for your efforts in being the facilitator of this. I look forward to it continuing on and being a benefit for all of our employees.
Thank you.
Any additional questions from Ms. Allen before we go to the next item? All right, thank you both. All right. Next item, Madam Clerk?
Item number 3 is requesting commission approval of a 4-year contract with 3 one-year options to renew between the Charter County of Wayne and Procurement Consulting Group not to exceed $8,467,961.28 to assist with all Wayne County procurements and provide licenses for the Procure to Pay Jagger platform.
Hey, hello, sir.
Good morning, Arthur Walker, Procurement Director, Management and Budget Department. We are procuring strategic sourcing services. We use these services to supplement the work and activity of the Wayne County procurement team. For this new contract, it is a continuation of services that the county has had for the past 7 years. In addition to strategic sourcing, this contract includes licenses for our contracting system that we will use until we transition to the new Oracle system. And this contract also includes at-request optional contract management services that will allow us to take a look at policies and procedures at the department level to see where we can make improvements. Thank you.
Questions on this item, please. Commissioner Dobb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is this contract or this company replacing the Michigan Association of Counties Service Corporation?
Yes, the current contract is with the Michigan Association of Counties with Procurement Consulting Group as a subcontractor. For the new services, those roles are reversed.
Okay, so we won't be renewing that contract?
No, the current contract is coming to an end at the end of December. This was the required new procurement that Procurement Consulting Group responded to.
Commissioner Killeen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question for Commission Counsel. Counsel, I received your analysis. You raised a number of questions about this contract, most of them around the procurement ordinance. As I read this, it's like 6 pages. It looks like some of the issues you raised have been resolved. Are you comfortable at this point now that all the issues that you have raised have been resolved?
Through the chair to this honorable body, as indicated in the analysis, and as usual, the department did provide appropriate responses. There is one issue that Corp Counsel is reviewing on a global basis with regards to liquidated damages. So you may see that in a few analyses, but they are undertaking a review and will get back to this body and to my office with regards to some potential changes in language with regards to that. Otherwise, yes, we're satisfied.
And just thank you. And then just on page 5 of your analysis, the last item for Commission Counsel comment, is that the issue that you're referring to now where there's ongoing work discussion on that?
That is correct.
And you're participating in that?
Yes, I am waiting for Corporation Counsel to get back with some recommendations, and the intent is to have a discussion after that. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any further questions on that item? Okay, thank you. We'll go to item number 4.
Which is on the first addenda. Item number 4 is requesting commission approval of a comparable source purchase order between the Charter County of Wayne and Maserant Feed and Grain in the amount of $138,780.60 for the purchase of hay, other feed and supplies for the horses and dogs at the Sheriff's Office.
Who is here to speak to this at the Sheriff's Office? Contract person for the Sheriff's Office. Are you on Zoom?
Good morning, Commissioners. I couldn't unmute myself. Anita Terry, Sheriff's Office Director of Administration. We're coming before you today to request a comparable source for Mazaret's feed and grain for our canine and our horses. Due to the poor quality that we received from the past 3 vendors that we've used for years. Right now, the services that we had been receiving is imposing a health risk to our horses and canine. So by us using this one vendor that is based in Wayne County, they will be able to provide us the services we need at a much more efficient pace.
Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. How many horses and dogs do we actually have?
Oh, right now we have 7 horses, 4 senior horses, 3 adolescent horses. And the amount of dogs, I can't remember the number on the canine exactly. And I can get that for you, but the huge risk is with our horses right now.
Thank you.
Additional questions on this item? Thank you, Ms. Terry.
Thank you.
Next item?
Item number 5 is requesting commission approval of a 3-year professional services contract with 2 one-year options to renew between the Charter County of Wayne and Freedman Real Estate Management, not to exceed $24,460,472 to provide property management services at the CJC.
Okay, we have the big guns for this one.
Good afternoon,
Hello.
Commission, James Heath Corporation Counsel. Got Christopher Merrick from the Zausmer Law Firm, Aaron Wagner, and Gregory Hurst here. I had an old mentor back when I was doing trial work. He said, always judge your performance before the jury comes back. And so I want to thank, before the voting starts, I want to thank your commission staff. Commission counsel, fiscal advisor, your policy advisor. From the moment, even before we were at Cal, they began working on this, and they worked through the weekend. We had a very productive meeting on Friday afternoon. They were very patient with their time, and I just want to thank them for all of their hard work in getting the analysis together so that we could take this matter up. They treated it with the importance that we believe this contract has. And so I just want to thank them for all of their hard work.
Thank you, sir. And you're absolutely right. They did an amazing job under the time frame allotted to get questions asked and answered. And we appreciate our staff tremendously for the time that they put to get this before us today. So I will let you go forward with your comments on this contract.
Sure. And so you all were at the COW, and so I'm not going to regurgitate all of that. I know you may have some questions. This is a 3-year contract for property management services with the Freedman Corporation. We see them as an essential partner in helping us to manage the operations of the criminal justice complex. They will work directly under the supervision of the facility maintenance and planning team led by Mr. Hurst, who is in full support of this contract. They will help his team provide full service to all of the end users who will be occupying the building, who have been working very hard to perform the services that they are obligated to perform, as well as the work that Freedman will conduct will reap benefits to the general public who comes to visit this facility. As you all know, I've said we are very, very close to turnover, we believe. And it is essential for us to have this contract up and running so that as soon as we receive the keys for the facility, we are able to start performing the services that we need. And so even before we move in, Freedman will begin working with Greg and his team and to make sure that we are ready to meet the transition and operation goals that the development agreement lays out. Your approval of this contract will allow our end users, the sheriff is here today, for instance, and we had a meeting with, the sheriff's office is here today. We had a meeting with them yesterday and talking about transition, and part of what we anticipated, frankly, was that we would have Freedmen on board soon. And so that the sheriff can work on those items which they need to do to have them operate within the facility. The same is true for all of our end users. This is an extremely important contract. It's one that commissioners and staff have raised important questions, and we look forward to answering them here today. Thank you very much.
Okay, so as you stated, this is a little unorthodox, the way this is set up, and I believe it's because we as a team, I don't think anyone here has opened up a new building before, a brand new building. So although, again, it's unorthodox on how we normally operate, I think the reason is because this is a new venture for all of us, the commission and the CEO's office, and to make sure that we are transitioning smoothly, this is necessary. I'm glad to see it's just for 3 years, because I would imagine after we get our feet under us with this new building, that we should be able to go forward in our regular course of action as it relates to letting out contracts to perform the services. But because this is new to all of us, and I think it is beneficial for us to have someone on site to help guide us through this, I'm fine with approving this myself today. I know there are several questions. Corp Counsel, Commission Counsel asked excellent questions, as did our analysis on this, and they were answered. But again, the uniqueness of it is why we're here today. But because it's unique, I'm fine going forward. We do have a few questions. Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to clarify the liquidated damages clause. If our corporate counsel, Mission Counsel was referring to that earlier, or is this the same? Or is this different?
Through the chair to this honorable body, there are several contracts where we did mention liquidated damages. This is not one of those contracts.
Okay, that's all I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Basham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. When I looked at this, I happened to think about COVID. When we were going through COVID, we actually went, the administration, we went from 50,000 that had to come in front of us, but exceed that to 150,000. Now, I'm looking at this, and I appreciate the effort that's going forward. I appreciate that it's unique, but there's still a lot of questions that have not been answered. And it sort of takes away, from reading this, from our commission counsel, some of the issues that takes away our responsibility. And I think because it certainly takes away our responsibility, I'm still struggling with, I don't think things have been resolved, and I don't want to give them a 3-year time limit and then come back and say, but we've been doing this for 3 years. So, we don't need the commission's response to do this as far as subcontracting and other things that Freedmen can do. So I still have more questions than I have answers, and from reading this from Commission Counsel's comments on a number of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any additional questions on this item number 5? Any additional comments you'd like to state? Oh. Commission Counsel.
Through the chair, one item of note for the commission is that, as you all are aware, when contracts are submitted to this body, the list of subcontractors are provided. And there is an exhaustive list of subcontractors that has been provided that they anticipate. What's unique about this particular contract is that it is understood or anticipated that additional subcontractors will likely be needed through the course of this. And the administration has agreed to provide those as receive and file items. Once they determine, as the process moves forward, what they need, that this body will be notified of additional subcontractors who are brought on, which is something that usually does not happen with other contracts.
Thank you, Counsel. Commissioner Kinlock?
Yes, to our commission council. Also in your analysis or in the information you provided us, there were a few times where you mentioned that it was understood, but it wasn't actually written in agreement, that you didn't see it in the agreement. There were a couple of times I saw that. Are you comfortable with moving forward, or were there any discussions around the fully executed document? That information would be included within the final document, or you're fine with it as it is?
Through the chair, there were a few items that were not clearly specified or understood. Based on our meeting on Friday, I was satisfied with the answers, and I put those responses in the document to let you know that this is what the administration's interpretation and intent
Correct.
is. But again, that's their interpretation and intent. So it's up to this body to determine if you're comfortable moving forward in that manner, not my office. I just put it out there for your information. But the answers were satisfactory, even though it wasn't always clear in the document, but the answers provided were satisfactory.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any additional comments, questions from commissioners? Any additional comments from the team?
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. That was our last item under new business, Madam Clerk. Okay, so the motion is for items number, say them for me, 2 through 5. Items 2 through 5, moved by Commissioner Baker McCormick, supported by Commissioner Clark Coleman. Additional questions, Commissioner Basham?
I'll be an abstention on 5. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any additional discussion on items 2 through 5? Hearing none, please vote. Commissioner Palomero?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Clerk, I vote yes on items 2, 4, and 5 and abstain on item 3.
Duly noted. Motion carries. Have Commissioner Palomero as an abstention on number 3, Commissioner Basham as an abstention on number 5.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item, please.
We are on testimonial resolutions and certificates of appreciation. There are 13 items listed.
All right, just I have a couple of comments on these. Was happy to attend the street naming of Dr. Curtis Ivory on Thursday. Myself, Commissioner Clemente, Commissioner Baker McCormick, and Commissioner Haydos saw his grandsons pull the little sheet off the sign right at 4th and 3rd. Well deserving of what he's done for Wayne County Community College. Is a pillar community college in the entire country, and very deserving to have City Council vote to name the street after him. Also, oh, you were in the car, and Commissioner Scott was in the car because it was cold outside. Absolutely. And then the girls golf team at Cass Technical High School, a brand new golf team. They were able to go to the state champions, and that was great because they're only 2 years old as a golf team. So to have that great accomplishment at a very young stage of the team's existence was awesome. And I salute those young ladies, and I'm sure they will go on to do great things and hopefully get golf scholarships to college. So we want to commend them as well. Any additional remarks under certificates resolutions? Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Madam Chair, I wanted to be added, would like to be added to number 10 for Brian Love. He is a constituent and now he's the director of the Michigan Veterans Agency. So if I can.
Okay, thank you. Mhm. Commissioner Scott?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to be added to Brian Love's also. He's a former staffer.
Yes, he is.
In the legislature.
Yes, he is. Okay, we'll put all commissioners on for Brian Love. And the reason I did it, because I think you all know.
Absolutely.
You all know. Me and Brian have known each other since we were 13 years old. And we watched each other grow up in this political arena. So, but I will put all commissioners on that one. Thank you. Commissioner Anderson?
Did you say you were going to put all commissioners on that one?
yes, I
Okay,
will put
that's
all.
great. That's what I was going to ask about.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm. Any additional, and he'll be very thrilled to know that everyone wanted to be on his, I was a little certificate I made, but I will put everyone's name on it.
We all work with Brian in the legislature.
Yes, and I was knocking him upside the head in 8th grade. So, all right, any other remarks under testimony resolutions? Is there, it's moved by Commissioner, Vice Chair Pro Tem Baidoon, supported by Commissioner Marecki. All in favor? Well, not all in favor, but please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Next item.
We're on memoriams. There are 6 names listed.
Okay, are there any additional names to be added to memoriams? Okay, good. Vice Chair Pro Tem Baidoon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to add the name of Haji Fatmi Ayub Shami. She is the beloved wife of my dear friend Haji Ahmed Shami, and the sister of my real estate colleague, Mike Ayub. She passed away last week after a brief illness. Again, I extend my sincere condolences to the Ayub and the Shami family. Thank you, Madam Chair.
So sorry for your loss, Commissioner. Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Just wanted to speak to my great aunt. She passed away, Martha. Dynamic, young lady at heart. And so just wanted to say a few words on her behalf. As well as I would like to be added to Pastor Rochelle Davis. He was my pastor for a very long time, Temple of Faith Baptist Church. He actually baptized me at the age of 8 years old. So I was saddened by his loss and didn't find out till over the weekend. So thank you.
Thank you. So sorry about your aunt. I would add another name, Mr. Carl Banks. Carl was a actual high school classmate of mine, and he passed away of cancer just this past weekend, and he'll be funeralized at the end of this week. It's so sad when you start losing your classmates such a young age. So I would like to put his name in memoriam as well, and I'll submit that to the clerk's office. Okay, if we could all stand for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Carl Banks, how were you having that prepared?
Do you want to be added to it?
Yes, I
Okay.
wasn't sure.
I'm
Thank
in the
you.
process of working on it now. Jim, if you could add Commissioner Kinlock. Thank you, and let's keep all of those that we've lost in our prayers and their families in our prayers. Next item, please.
Public comments.
Okay, do we have anyone on Zoom for public comments? You have 2 minutes each. Anyone? We're gonna take Zoom first, sir. You can sit in the front row and then we'll call you after we go through Zoom. Anyone on Zoom for public comments?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Omir. Omir.
Omar?
Omar. Omar.
Are they all off of mute? Okay.
Ruba.
Say the name again.
Ruba.
Hello.
Are you?
Go ahead, Ruba. You have 2 minutes.
Commissioners, I'm here today to speak on the ceasefire resolution. Firstly, I'd like to say to the gentleman who spoke only to justify Israel's war crimes with the lie of they started it first with their attack on the music festival, Please in the future refrain from insulting the intelligence of the people with statements like that. There is nobody in this world outside of those who have lived inside of a bubble for the last 75 years who still fall victim to that type of propaganda, which only serves as a tactic to dehumanize the Palestinians. In the last 12 days since our December 7th meeting, when the decision was made to remove the ceasefire resolution from the agenda, approximately 9,000 more innocent Palestinian civilians have been killed. Alicia, in the 12 days since you stated that you'd, quote, rather him not, in reference to your fellow commissioner making a last-ditch effort to vote on a resolution, 6,000 more women and children have been senselessly murdered. In the 12 days since you decided that political decorum was more important than condemning a genocide, the Israeli occupation forces drove over sleeping hospital patients, burying them alive. And in the 12 days since you made the decision to delay the ceasefire vote, hundreds of innocent people have died not by airstrikes or snipers, but of thirst and starvation, a method of warfare that has been endorsed by high-ranking Israeli officials. You may all have the luxury of time as you place the issue of the people of Gaza on the back burner and return to the comfort and safety of your homes, but they do not. Did it feel good to go home that night and lay your head on your pillow? Were you able to sleep well knowing that just hours before you chose to turn a blind eye and ignore a genocide? Did it bring peace to your conscience knowing that as we slept, we essentially slept on the bodies of dead children? We have delayed this long enough. We are 73 days and 75 years late in taking this action, and the moment for action is now. It's time to declare to the world that Palestinians deserve to live and deserve to live with the same dignity and freedom that we pride ourselves on as a nation. I urge you all not to delay it any further and vote yes on this ceasefire resolution. Thank you, and free Palestine.
The FYI, for those who may be on Zoom, the ceasefire resolution was already voted in affirmative about an hour ago in this meeting. Thank you. Next person, please.
Dr. Otabi. Dr. Otaibi. Stephen Haring.
Can I be heard?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'm speaking in support of the resolution. You know, why I'm speaking in support, well, I don't entirely agree with a full ceasefire, as Israel wasn't a complete ceasefire October 7th, and it was no secret, October 7th was the worst genocide of Jews since the Holocaust. Israel does have a justifiable right to defend itself, but as long as it follows international law, which I believe they're not, because it is no secret Gaza is in a humanitarian crisis. The images, death, and destruction are indescribable. And you know, peace is only achievable through a two-state solution, granting nationhood to the West Bank and Gaza, whether it's 2 states or 3. Well, and they need to end the settlements in the West Bank. You know, there is apartheid treatment from those settlers towards Palestinians, which completely violates the Oslo Accords. But you know, the challenge lies in opposition from various parties on both sides, such as the right-wing Netanyahu regime and the terrorist group Hamas, and even political groups here on both sides of the aisle, like the GOP and DSA. But why I support this resolution is its encouragement for Israeli and Palestinian leaders to come together and work towards a two-state solution, which is the only way for a durable ceasefire. The Netanyahu regime or administration, they need to relook into their strategy. I mean, 20,000 or probably more. I mean, it couldn't have gotten this way. You know, but I do have to mention there were a couple ignorant comments from commissioners that started in 1948. You know, this situation has been around for thousands of years, actually since the first page of the Bible. And, you know, peace has been achievable, you know, in Ireland, Korea, and other areas. It can here, but has to be done right. So I support this resolution.
Next person on Zoom.
Liz. Liz?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name's Liz. I wasn't entirely planning to speak today, but I just want to speak in, support of the ceasefire resolution, which I understand was passed, and just encouraging people to, take as much action as possible beyond this resolution, because innocent people are being killed every single day, every night that we are able to go to bed, to sleep in our own beds, in the peace and comfort and warmth of a home. Millions, hundreds of thousands of Gazans are being displaced. They have no running water. They are now dying of diseases, preventable diseases. And we have a responsibility to do something about this, whether that's speaking at a, meeting like this or taking to the streets. I also just want to say that there was this in memoriam section earlier in this meeting, and I want to recognize the 20,000 plus Gazans that have been murdered by Israel, and the 10,000 plus children who have been killed, and the many more thousand who have become orphaned. And I hope that you guys, again, go beyond just passing the ceasefire resolution, but take further action, because I know you have connections with people in power, and your voice matters more than just this resolution. So thank you for doing that, but there's so much more to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Omar? Dr. Otabi?
Are there any emails?
Your screen name is Ceasefire Now Your Residence.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Hi, thank you all very much for allowing me to speak. And thank you to whoever had voted to pass the ceasefire resolution. And I just like to sort of piggyback off of Liz right there. I'm a Palestinian American, a lifelong resident of Wayne County, which, as you are very, very much aware, is an incredibly diverse county with about 50 to 60%, especially in Dearborn, of Middle Eastern residents. So you can tell why this is important to us, but I think also understanding the humanitarian cause, the humanitarian support that we must provide as a county. But I'd also like to support adding amendments to that resolution to add historical context of the identification of the occupation of Palestine, the label of a genocide, of Israel's actions and Israel's war crimes. I do believe that while this was a symbolic resolution, there is still more to do to point out the truth, because as we all know, the truth is the only thing that can dispel the hatred and discrimination that we see all the way right here in Wayne County, that's seeped out of Gaza and the West Bank to here right at home. But again, I would like to thank the commissioners who voted for the resolution, but I do believe, along with thousands and millions of people in Michigan, that there is still more to do, that there is that commissioners should take the actions and the steps towards amending the resolution to make it even more accurate than it is. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. And go now to the chambers, sir.
Hello, my name is Tyler Voskirchian. I spoke last time in favor of this resolution. I'm so thankful that you have reflected the democratic will of the county in passing this. Of course, this isn't the only governmental body that represents this population, right? So I would urge you guys to talk to the senators and congressmen, Debbie Stabenow, Gary Peters, Shri Thanadar. Of course, Rashida Tlaib has already taken a very brave and courageous stance on this in Congress. They represent us as well. If I'm forgetting any of the other districts, my apologies, but please urge people you know who have power on the national scale to reflect the democratic will of Wayne County. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else in the chambers to speak? Come on.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here. I was here on the 7th, and I was disappointed to know that, the ceasefire resolution was taken off the agenda. I'm happy to know that you all found your humanity to be able to put it on again and to finally pass it. I'm glad Mr. Commissioner Besham is back. I wanted to challenge you a little bit on what you said earlier. I understand that on October 7th, there were many, not 1,400, because that lie was debunked by many, including the occupations newsletters and newspapers and news outlets. Many of those that did pass away or were killed were by the occupations forces, not by the resistance from Palestine. Another thing that I wanted to say is that, yes, there are 20 plus proven Palestinians, 7,000 plus children, babies that have been killed since October 7th and way before that. And we do want to try to remember those facts, not lies, facts that even before October 7th, many Palestinian children were either, shot at or killed by settlers or by the IOF. And it continues until today, execution style. So let's not forget those facts before we try to represent the people. Please. It is shameful to sit here and say debunked lies. And it got me so angry after being happy that the resolution passed, because we don't want to open our mouths and say lies anymore, especially since they have been debunked. So I appreciate you voting on the resolution, but before we talk again, I hope that we are talking in terms of peace and not hatred, and we're not spreading lies anymore. Free Palestine from the river to the sea. Thank you.
Next speaker. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Morning, Commissioners and Madam Chair. My name is Lisa Capatina, and I live in Plymouth. I come to you today to ask for your cooperative oversight as we approach a presidential election and an election year with significant changes introduced to our Michigan elections with the passage of Prop 2. Some background. In the last few years, I have trained and served as an election inspector in various roles within different precincts throughout Wayne County, including Detroit. I am in awe of the process, continually learning, and humbled by the complexity of our elections. I am also inspired by the many dedicated people who work to justly complete the process, even in days after the election. Today, I bring to your attention an incident that happened in November of 2022. A faulty USB flash drive program provided by Lansing to our electronic poll books sent a majority of Detroit precincts into chaos. The error resulted in major delays in distribution of ballots to voters, causing some to leave the precinct before casting their vote. It necessitated the hand recording of ballots and the recording of voter names scribbled on paper in the subsequent hours of troubleshooting. The result was many angry and confused voters and very frustrated volunteers in Detroit who came to serve their community. Through no fault of their own, voters were compromised, and so were election workers. The reality currently is a lot of precincts are already challenged on election day to staff their precincts with adequately trained volunteers to effectively serve so that every person who wants to vote in person has the opportunity to. I ask you to talk to your clerks and our election personnel who actually work the elections about election policy. Listen to their challenges and ensure they have the financial resources needed to train and staff their precincts. Encourage Lansing to do so also by advocating for their concerns and providing the necessary tools and the timely direction required so they can do their jobs well. This in turn will support voters, the volunteers who do show up to serve, while also securing the integrity and the confidence we all want in our Wayne County elections. I am proud of my election service And I thank you in advance for yours and wish you all a happy and safe holiday. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else from Chambers? Hello.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you again for allowing me to speak. My message to you this morning is the same as it was last week in the subcommittee. I'm a proud Jewish American. I am a descendant of a family that went through the Holocaust. Many survived, many perished. And being a Jew and having seen a genocide transpire and then see another one take place makes me come to you today and say thank you for passing this resolution. It'll please you to know that the majority of Americans, voting Americans, do favor and support a ceasefire. And our hope is that elected officials around the country will hear the voices. Pardon me, it's a little bit of an emotional morning. Excuse me. Right. Our hope is that the elected officials around the country will hear the voices of us, the people, and take action and demand that the Israeli government halt the massacre of innocent women, men, and children. And while I do wholeheartedly agree that the events of October 7th were deplorable, however, as a Jew, I find it curious when we use the blanket statement that the conflict started on October 7th. This is not true. October 7th and those events brought back to light a continuation of 75 years of the subjugation and oppression of the Palestinian people. And my hope is to just illuminate this truth to my fellow brothers and sisters, whether non-Jewish or Jewish. We're about out of time, so I'll just say, as Jews, we have this saying, never again means never again for anyone, everyone, and everywhere. So thank you for passing this resolution. I think it is a step in the right direction. Ceasefire now. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the chambers for public comments? Dr. Otabai, we called your name earlier on Zoom, but you didn't respond. I see your hand is up. You'll be our last Zoom comment. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I had to step away to see a patient. Just want to thank everybody for their courageous stand in passing the ceasefire resolution. As to the gentleman who spoke about the music festival, I would be more than happy to give you a history lesson, but I thank you for passing yes. And I just need to add my voice to everybody else in thanking you and hoping that the rest of the country and the rest of the state would hear our voices.
Thank you.
Alyssa? Alyssa?
Hi, sorry, my unmute wasn't working. I didn't prepare anything, so please excuse me if I ramble. I was just sent the Zoom and told that my county was finally voting on a ceasefire resolution. So I'm really, really happy to see that it passed. I am very disappointed to hear that people voted no, because to me, that is just upholding a status quo of white supremacy that is very, very systemic, not only in America, but also in Israel, because, you know, as we should all be aware of, the government there is centered on supremacy, and that's why it is an apartheid system that is the very foundation of the Israeli regime. And as much as I am happy to see the current resolution, that does still disappoint me, and I would love, love, love to see the commissioners also work on more systemic ways of maintaining Palestinian history and memory. I don't know what capacity that would look like, but if we can systemically ensure that Palestinian history and memory is not erased because of the way that we consistently see schools getting bombed, mosques getting bombed, and people completely demonizing the perspectives of Palestinian and Arab people within that land. I think the only proper thing to do would be to extend the things that we have already committed ourselves to in terms of a ceasefire.
Thank you. I think that concludes Public comments? Next item, Madam Clerk.
Reconsiderations.
Commissioner Knizik.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to reconsider item D3, please, because of my stupidity.
All right, we have a motion to reconsider item number 3. We need to vote on the reconsideration. D3, correct?
D3 under the Committee on Health and Human Services agenda.
Okay, I'll give a minute to add that to the board. We will vote for reconsideration first and then re-vote for the item. Clerk will let us know when the board is ready to vote.
Board is ready to vote on the motion to reconsider.
There's a motion to reconsider. Please vote. Say aye. Moved by Commissioner Knizik, supported by Commissioner Kinlock to reconsider item D3. A voice vote? We're ready? Okay, there it is. Okay, there we go.
Carries.
Motion carries. All right, vote for item number D3. When it's ready, we'll vote. Everyone will vote for that item again. Let us know when it's ready. Moved by Commissioner Knizik, supported by Commissioner Kinlock to vote on D3. Approve D3. All right, please vote.
Carries. Have Commissioner Knizik as an abstention.
All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Remarks by members.
All right, remarks by members. Are there remarks by members? Commissioner Kinlock.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
on Saturday, there was an annual holiday party that is put on every year by the 13th Congressional District Democratic Party organization. And for the record, Madam Clerk, I would like these comments to be part of the journal.
Duly noted.
On Saturday, there was an annual party that is put on every year by the 13th Congressional District Democratic Party organization. This is a time when elected officials, party leaders, and community come together to enjoy a celebration despite any political differences that may have occurred throughout the year. Protesters in support of a ceasefire in Gaza arrived to the event to disrupt the festivities and voice their concerns towards Congressman Thanedar. This was not a peaceful protest. Peaceful protest includes respecting licensure and notice. We have seen peaceful protests for this cause in our city, across our state, and across the nation. Unfortunately, this was not the case with these specific protesters. This was a private event and community members had no security. We never have security because we are in a celebration. If the intention was to raise concerns to the congressman, there are other avenues to do that, not by disrupting a holiday party. Protesters were asked to leave numerous times and they refused. There's disruption angered event attendees who then forced the protesters out of a private party and at a private venue. As a Black man in America, there have been plenty of times when exercising my right to ensure my voice was heard had been necessary. But you cannot violate people's sense of safety at family gatherings. If you're fighting for human rights and social justice, you shouldn't ever do anything to cause doubt that your aim is true. Causing distress in the lives of the people who you are trying to reach was wrong and painful to watch unfold. We hope these protesters who do not represent the majority of peaceful protesters reconsider their strategy of how to elevate their concerns because their rioters' tactics only hurt their efforts. A protest is when you use the First Amendment right in accordance with the law. It was a direct disrespect to the over 200 guests, many of whom were senior citizens who didn't deserve the vile disrespect. The 13th Congressional District consists of 20 communities who support exercising our freedom of speech. You cannot come into our communities, ask for our support, and then turn around and treat us like an oppressor. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was one of those senior citizens that attended the event on Saturday. I had never been so frightened in my whole life. These were not protesters. These were rioters. They came there ready to do harm. And they threatened all of the people who were there. I myself, with my own 2 eyes, witnessed one of the protesters with a full fist hit one of the seniors there, broke her nose, blood spearing everywhere. If you want, my phone, now I've listened to all of the comments about your community and how you want to support your community. My community is infuriated. My phones have been ringing off the hook about this horrible display, of this disgrace, this disrespect for our community. For our community, we have people and constituents who we have to answer to also. But for these people, and there was a sign on the door saying a private party, and they ignored that. They came in there with the flags waving and everything and threatened all the people that were there. I resent it. I voted for this resolution, but I resent the way that they came upon my community and disrespected the people in my district. Thank you very much. And you can put that on the record.
Thank you, Commissioner. And let me send out warm wishes, and so sorry to hear that the young lady who was assaulted is my constituent, Ms. Bobby Johnson. So I want to wish her well in her recovery from being subjected to that. Thank you.
I was there. I was there.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
No, wasn't, no, you were not supposed to. No,
Thank you.
no.
All right, thank you.
One
Any
more thing,
other-
please.
Go ahead. Mhm.
One more thing that I forgot that's important. If you want the support of my community, then you have to respect my community. The people in my community are very upset. And I would advise those who have any kind of a partnership or friendship or relationship with these people that are doing these things, that are calling themselves protesters, but they're really rioters. If you have a relationship, you should talk to them, because what you want is to get the support of everyone. And you cannot come into a place to make a point and ignore the fact that this was about 98% Black at this party. So that is what I object to. It was disrespect. And I don't care what anybody else says, it was disrespect. And you should advise them to try to make friends with the people in my community, Black people. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Dobb. Commissioner Dobb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I don't want to turn this into a debate, and I'm not going to say a lot, but I'm very, very sorry that this happened at a holiday party, and I do think that it was very wrong. And I hope that the community, all of us, don't take this to see it as representative of all people who are protesting what is happening in Gaza, because as Commissioner Kinloch said, there have been
hundreds of peaceful protests throughout the country. And because a few bad actors came in and this horrible incident happened, it's not representative of what most people are doing and what most people believe. So, you know, it's very sad that this happened, and I'm hoping that it's not going to besmirch like all of the whole movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Kinlock?
Madam Chair, I cannot let this moment go past to say that, without saying that, and I want this for the record as well, that Commissioner Baidoon, as well as Assad, as well as Adam Abdulsalah, and Hassan Sheikh, a number of folks who are part of this community who reached out to me and have asked that we have a sit down, and they were not pleased with what occurred, and asked for us to have a sit down and continue those conversation. Also, I heard from some other individuals as well, because this was very painful to watch. Very painful to watch. It was filled full of many seniors who came from across the 13th congressional district, and I'm still here getting calls from them. They were very, very, fearful of what was going on. So I thank you for recognizing me again, but I could not just let this go past without recognizing the fact that folks did understand what and reached out.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I think it's worth stating that it was unfortunate because there were a lot of senior citizens there who, as Commissioner Clark Coleman stated, were truly scared and frightened. And that shouldn't be the case, especially at a holiday event. Commissioner Scott?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was appalled because I was not able to attend. I was on my way and I got a phone call saying, do not come, because I don't want you to get involved in this. It is just too hurtful. And especially when I found out that the lady had gotten her nose broke. So I did go to the press conference on yesterday so that I could hear more, because I was watching Channel 4 and I didn't see anything on there. And I was appalled at that because I thought somebody should have said something on TV, and they didn't. I try and help support all people because I represent all people. But we must come together. We cannot continue. I have had so much in my life where so many people that I know that have been hurt and still being hurt. There's just too much going on. So please, we cannot continue. I supported the resolution because I support the people in Hamtramck that I represent and in the Detroit area there. But we all have to come together. We're all human beings saved by the grace of God, and we've got to do better. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think you said it best. We represent all people, and we have to invoke the words of Dr. King of peace and humanity for all. And that during this holiday season, we should take extra care to abide by those principles. So thank you, Commissioner Scott, for your closing words as we do a little bit of a pivot, if you don't mind. So the pivot is, on this day, we are celebrating one of our own as he retires from the Wayne County Commission. And that would be Mr. Ray Basham. This is his last meeting as Commissioner Ray Basham. So Ray, if you could please come up here, we have something for you. Come on up, and as he comes, give him a round of applause for his 13 years of service. It's so very hard to leave this wonderful body And I should know because I've been here the longest almost. So it's very hard to leave here, but someone who's made a tremendous impact on the governance of our county, his beloved communities that he represents. He is the self-proclaimed skunk at the picnic. And because it's self-proclaimed, we have a wonderful plaque that we are giving him. And at the top, it has 2 skunks. So he can always remember all of his contributions, the good, of course, to the Wayne County Commission. So on behalf of all of the commissioners, and we've all signed this with our own penmanship and our own pens, this is a testament and thank you for all that you've done for the Wayne County Commission and what you've done even before you became a commissioner, as city council person, state representative, state senator. This is our little recognition and thankful to you. So here you go, Ray. Thank you, and continue to be the skunk wherever you go.
Well, I'll keep it. As a result, it's got a John Deere tractor and a Harley Davidson on it. And I did take the skunk down in my office. When the governor sees me, she goes like this. But anyway, the skunk is taken down but what a time to retire or go to a different phase in life when this is all about working. I got so stressed out at our last meeting, I wound up in the hospital for a night. We need to support all people. I don't care if you're Jewish or if you're Irish or if you're Palestinian or if you're Iraqi or if you're Lebanon or Afghanistan. I don't care what you are. We need to support each other. And it really troubles me personally to hear people personalize hatred. And that's what it is. You don't agree with me, so you're bad. And that stuff's got to change. And it changes within people's own bodies. They can come up here and point at us all day long. The bottom line is we know as elected county officials what our responsibilities and rights are. And we know that there's probably 99 and probably 100% of us, if we could go over there and stop what's going on currently in Palestine, we would do that. But this is bigger than us. This is a world issue, and it's got to be resolved by NATO and by all the other countries over there. And so anyway, I support peace. I will always be involved in government in some form. I don't care. I'm what they call a blue dog dem. I'm a conservative, but I'm a Democrat. It's been a pleasure working with different folks here. You learn from people that you work with and you don't realize it. I've loved learning from different ethnicities. I was trying to impress my doctor from Afghanistan that how good at Arabic I could speak. And he stopped me and he says, we don't even speak Arabic. So we speak Farsi. Oh, okay. Now I'm learning there. My Chinese friend, I said, I don't even know how to say hi. And he says, ni hao. So I always know how to say hi in Chinese. But the thing of it is, it's about learning and growing as people, and it's about coming together. And it's really, it bothers me personally to hear this back and forth that I shouldn't even say anything about that. But anyway, we need to work on peace as a nation. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And unfortunately, our CEO, Warren Evans, could not be here, but he does have a tribute that's going to be presented to you by Ms. Allen.
Good morning again, Commissioner. It is truly an honor to present to you from our Wayne County Executive Warren C. Evans, a proclamation honoring your service. And while there's several whereas clauses, I'll just read the therefore be it hereby proclaimed that I, Warren C. Evans, on behalf of the citizens of Wayne County, wish to express my sincere congratulations to Wayne County Commissioner Raymond E. Basham for his 13 years of dedicated service to the residents of District 14 in Wayne County and to the betterment of Wayne County overall. Commissioner Basham has spent the majority of his working life as a committed public servant who has delivered exemplary service to those he represents. His presence on the commission will be sorely missed, signed this 19th day of December 23rd. And I'd also just like to personally say that it has truly been a privilege to work with you. I will forever respect how you stand on your principles and your values, and just really respect how you really push us to be the best, and wish you all the best in your next phase of your life.
And Warren does ride a Harley. Thank you.
After we adjourn, we'll all stand up front for a picture with our honoree before we go to our luncheon. Next item, Madam Clerk?
Adjourn.